A very good morning and welcome all of you to the daily news analysis for 23rd of April 2025 with me Jatin Verma. So guys, in today's news analysis we are going to briefly talk about the Pahalgam terror attack in the Jammu and Kashmir. Then we are going to discuss the ongoing dispute, the feud between judiciary and the executive. An editorial has appeared. Then there is another editorial on the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita dealing with the consensual sexual relationship. Okay, false promise of marriage and the charges of rape. One of the writers, who happens to be the Chhattisgarh's former DGP, he has written an editorial saying that section 69 of BNS, Bharatiya Nagrik Sanhita, is redundant in the sense that we already have section 375 that deals with the definition of rape. So this article, this editorial we are going to deal with, which talks about redundancy of section 69 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, okay, which talks about basically the false promise of marriage and sexual intercourse. This editorial, then this is the other editorial, matters that count, with regard to the judiciary and its independence and the unnecessary criticism of judiciary. Then yesterday, as you all know, the UPSC declared the result, the story of perseverance, persistence and patience. Shakti Dubey secured rank 1 in her 5th attempt. Let me just talk about it briefly. In the first 3 attempts, she could not crack prelims. 4th attempt, she wrote mains and got an interview call. So this is the story of perseverance, the faith on oneself that despite odds against you, despite being a girl, we have taboos in our society, despite having not been able to clear 3 attempts, prelims in 3 attempts, she persevered. And finally, the hard work had it that she secured rank 1. Okay, so people get disheartened by writing first attempt at prelims and not being able to clear it, and then they say that it is not made for me, I'm not cut out for UPSC civil services exam. But you look here, 3 attempts, she started preparing in 2018, 2019, 20 and finally 2025. She is 30 years now and secured rank 1. So as I've written here, UPSC is all about patience, the 3 P's. Okay, patience, persistence and perseverance. You would have the grass greener on the other side many a times. You would want to grab a private sector job. There would be some friends of yours who would have got settled in life, who would have got married and would have gotten their kids also. But if the fire is there in your belly, if your heart, mind and soul, they all say that yes, you want to pursue, then you should pursue it. Okay, so this is the story. I just wanted to briefly talk about it. In the light of the Civil Services Day and the result that has come out, we are running 60% off on our courses. So you can sneak out some time to browse the courses. The link of the courses is given in the description box of this video itself. I hope the audio, video, everything is working fine today. So these are the courses: Prahar 2026 for 2027, Pinnacle Batch is there, Sankalp 2027 batch is also there. All of these courses are available under discount for a few days, so you can just browse through the pages and see what course suits you to streamline your UPSC preparation. So these are the news articles that we are going to talk about. Tamil Nadu order does not apply to Kerala. So the order governing the governor of Tamil Nadu with regard to the approval of the bills under Article 201, the time limit has been put by the Supreme Court. Does it apply to Kerala or not? Then editorial, as I said, India relatively less susceptible to external headwinds. This is what the RBI report says, that India is not as vulnerable, as susceptible to the external headwinds, the tariff war, the ongoing things that are happening. Okay. Now, simultaneous polls, the joint parliamentary committee that was set up, that was constituted to study, to seek consultations with the various state governments, that is going to visit a set of 4 states and certain union territories to have further consultations. So in the light of this article today, we are going to discuss what are the amendments to Article 83, amendments to Article 82A, so Article 172, these things are going to be discussed. This new article has been added having 6 clauses under it. Okay, Article 172 also we are going to discuss briefly, so that if you are listening to this simultaneous election thing, if you want to understand this from the scratch, we will be understanding this. the salient amendments to the constitution. Then World Earth Day was observed yesterday on April 22nd. What is the theme of the World Earth Day? This is my first question to you. We will study this at the relevant place. Parliament is supreme. Constitution does not visualize any authority above it. Vice President is consistent with his salvos, with his digs at judiciary, that he is not going to relent. He says that the judicial supremacy does not find any place in our constitution. Parliament is the supreme legal body. Even though we have a written constitution, but vice president has a different view. Okay, so we'll talk about this also. Let's get started with the news articles. As I said, this first article, you see 5 attempts. Will you be able to continue your preparation if you are not able to crack UPSC exam in first, second and third? Not the exam. If you are not able to crack even prelims in your first 3 attempts. Okay, the story of this girl, people become celebrities. Otherwise, you know, the result has the glory, etc. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been discussing her case. That's the fact. But see the persistence here, see the perseverance. There would have been certain times when there would have been some pressure from the family. Get married, get settled in life. Okay, there would have been times when she herself would be feeling low. So, my dear students, it is a story of patience, persistence and perseverance. Okay, so this is how you have to sometimes nurture hope. You have to have faith on yourself when the odds are stacked against you. Many a times it will happen in your journey, but keep fighting. If you have that desire, if you have that flame inside your heart and soul that yes, you have to persevere, you have to pursue civil services, then go for it. Okay, now coming here, simultaneous polls. Parliamentary Standing Committee to visit states and UTs from next month. So joint parliamentary committee was, JPC kind of a arrangement was made out to study the one nation, one election. Okay. Yesterday we had this attack on Jammu and Kashmir. That gives us one more lesson. Can, in a country like India, which is facing so many internal and external security threats, can we actually conduct one nation, one election? Yes, we can. But the security challenges will be there. Okay, the Pahalgam terror attack on Jammu and Kashmir tells us that it's better to conduct the elections in phases across North India, some of the states of South India. So that method is also good. Just a lesson from Pahalgam attack yesterday. Now coming here to the political aspect of this news, the Joint Committee of Parliament looking into holding simultaneous elections will hold deeper consultations with the states, since it's a federal issue. Now, what are the amendments? The 129th Amendment Bill. It will be numbered according to the number of passage. We have already had 105 constitutional amendments. Okay, so we will see what number will be assigned to it. This is the number of the bill actually. There would be the difference between the number of the bill and the number of act when passed, because not all the constitutional amendment bills have been passed. Not all of them have seen the light of the day. That's why. Okay, so amendments that have been proposed, Article 83, duration of the houses of the parliament. So this article says that if Lok Sabha is dissolved in between due to lack of majority, lack of the numbers with any political party, inability of any political party to form the government, then the term of that Lok Sabha, the newly elected Lok Sabha, can be curtailed. Okay, as per the date appointed by the President of India. So this is called as appointed date under Article 82A, the new article that has been added. Okay, so the term of Lok Sabha will not be 5 years, but it will be the newly elected Lok Sabha. If in case the old Lok Sabha, the existing Lok Sabha gets dissolved because of inability of any political party to form the government, then this will be the scenario. Can anyone please comment and let me know if everything is working fine, audio, video? Yesterday we had a problem, so I had to change the mic. It will be a great favor if someone can give a thumbs up. All right. So, okay, so this is there. Article 83 will be amended to this effect. Likewise, Article 83, the duration of the houses of the parliament, the bill proposes adding new clauses that so that if Lok Sabha is dissolved before the end of its 5-year term, Okay, 5-year term. The next Lok Sabha will only be for the unexpired term. So Article 83 will be amended. Article 172 amendment, duration of the state legislature. If a state assembly is dissolved before its term ends, usually the term of state legislative assembly is 5 years, but the newly elected state legislative assembly will also be completing the incomplete term. Okay, suppose there is a Lok Sabha legislative assembly which was elected in 2026. Its term is going to be till 2031. Suppose it gets dissolved in 2028 due to lack of numbers. So what will happen? This newly elected legislative assembly should continue till 2033 for 5 years. No, it will continue only for the remainder term, that is till 2031, so as to enable synchronous elections or simultaneous elections. Same applies to Lok Sabha. The term of the Lok Sabha might be from 2024 to 29 or 2029 till 2034. But if Lok Sabha gets dissolved in between in 2032, then the newly elected Lok Sabha will be continuing only till 2034 May. The month of May we hold the elections. Okay, now there is another, these are the amendments. Okay, 3 articles are getting amended: Article 82, Article 83, Article 172. Then there is a newly proposed article, Article 82A, which adds clauses 1 to 6, increasing the power of Election Commission of India. Then the date of appointment, the appointed date. Article 82A Clause 1 says that President will prescribe the appointed date. This will be the date on which all the legislative assemblies and Lok Sabha will be dissolved together. Okay, appointed date, etc. This article has been inserted. Okay. Now, amendment to Article 327. The bill proposes amending Article 327 to add conduct of simultaneous elections. After this, Article 327 talks about delimitation of constituencies. Okay, but this will be so amended that at the end of delimitation of elections, that is already written in the article, the conduct of simultaneous elections, the phrase will be added, so that the Election Commission of India is authorized to conduct the elections in a simultaneous manner, both to the Parliament, to the Lok Sabha and to the legislative assemblies. Okay, so these are the articles. So since the deliberations, the discussions are going to be held on the various aspects with the states, since this is a federal matter, many eminent lawyers, the opposition parties, they are saying that it will not withstand the judicial scrutiny. Why? Because the terms of existing legislative assemblies will have to be curtailed. It remains to be seen whether judiciary allows it or not. Okay, now what are the perils, what are the bad sides of the simultaneous elections? We will briefly discuss. Number one, it might lead to nudging the voter in the same direction to vote for the same political party. Many voters in India, they still identify political parties on the basis of their electoral symbols. Okay, dhol, the Aam Aadmi Party's symbol is broomstick, right? So many candidates, many political voters, they are illiterate. So these illiterate voters, or the voters who are not able to differentiate between the local level, the state legislative assembly level and the union Lok Sabha level, everybody is not aware, like the UPSC aspirants, about union list, state list and concurrent list. Okay, the matters that for which we hold the member of parliament Lok Sabha accountable, the matters for which we hold the MLAs accountable. So one nation, one poll idea is good or bad, it remains to be seen. Why? Because we would be nudging the voter to vote for the same political party at both the levels. Okay, elections to Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly. So this is going to be a bad side. Good side is that every time the elections are held, it leads to invocation of Model Code of Conduct, MCC, by Election Commission of India, ECI. Okay, so this leads to policy paralysis, etc. But I take it we should understand that periodic elections act as a check on absolute power of the government. Okay, act as a check on absolute power of the government. So please answer, what was the name of the committee? Which committee was appointed? What is the name of the chairperson of the committee that was appointed to suggest upon simultaneous elections? Act as a check on absolute power. Absolute power is not good. Okay, many thinkers have said that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay, check on the absolute power. If the same political party will have the government formed at the central level and also at the state level, so what will happen? They will be having complete control. They can amend the constitution, they can change the various laws. So that is not good for the country, okay, in the long run. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, their views have been used by various editorial writers, by various commentators to deliberate upon it. So both the good points are also there. Expenses, we say that expenses will be curtailed. But look at the recent Pahalgam attack. What happened? Mere arrival of Vice President of the USA was taken as an opportunity by the Pakistan to attack the Indian territory, Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, this Pahalgam attack that happened yesterday. So will the hostile neighbors of India not seize on the opportunity? Will they not want to capitalize on the opportunity when the whole country will be going for polls? If the whole country will be going to poll all at once, the paramilitary forces, military, army will be deployed in sensitive locations, thereby giving a very beautiful chance to our hostile neighbors like China and Pakistan to attack on India. Now you see Bangladesh hostility, etc. So it is going to be a huge challenge to conduct polls all at once, even though our election commission is good, our EVMs are good, but it is going to be a huge logistical exercise. Okay. Then coming to the other aspects, we have seen in the light of this news article, which was very briefly talking about the Joint Parliamentary Committee to hold consultations with the states, we have discussed the background as to what is the name of the amendment bill, what are the salient amendments that it will bring about. So you can just brush up your facts and jot down these details somewhere in the Lakshmikant, make notes of it so that you revise this topic whenever you study Election Commission of India or the topic of simultaneous elections, guys. Okay, now let's have a look at the previous year question of 2017. Simultaneous elections to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies will limit the amount of time and money spent in electioneering, but it will reduce the government's accountability to the people through the periodic legislative assembly elections. So periodic legislative assembly elections are like midterm exams. We all take midterm exams. Are they a wastage of time? Are they a wastage of money? Okay. Periodic state legislative assembly elections, they act as a check on the power of the central government. Central government is held accountable for any lapses. Okay. So every year the state assemblies, when they go to polls, central government is also rendered accountable, is also held accountable for things like inflation, petrol prices, for corruption, anything that is affecting the country. So that leads to a responsible government. Okay. Now another thing is, during the periodic elections, a lot of money, ill-gotten money, is spent by political parties. Okay, so usage of money needs to be curtailed. Accountability of parties, political parties, the legislation should be brought about to render the political parties accountable. Accountability of political parties is more important than any type of election, simultaneous or non-simultaneous. But until and unless we fix the accountability of political parties as to how they are generating so much of funds, until then you bring about simultaneous election, you bring about everyday election, you bring about referendum, whatever you may do, it is not going to be good for country. It is not going to be a sufficient step. Okay, so this is how the 2017 question was framed, highlighting the accountability factor. Okay, so that is how you have to prepare. I will share an editorial link on the Telegram channel today, nudging the voter in the same direction. This editorial had appeared, ditto the same. The question has been borrowed from this editorial. So stay tuned on the Telegram channel. Just after the news analysis end, I will share the Hindu editorial from the archives of the Hindu, which will help you answer this question. You can post the answer to this question on the Telegram group that is attached to the channel. Now coming to World Earth Day 2025 theme. What is the theme of the World Earth Day? Every year this day is observed on April 22 since 1970. Not important for our purpose, but our purpose says that what is the theme? Our power, our planet. So it talks about e-vehicles, it talks about the green sources of energy. Electricity generated should be from green sources. Okay, no doubt the intention behind this World Earth Day, observation of the Earth Day, is good, but we need to introspect the kind of waste that we are generating in our rush to adopt green technologies is hypocritical, is full of hypocrisy. You are consuming a lot of lead, okay, lead batteries, etc., lithium ion batteries that are being generated, chemicals that will be proliferated, and how would you then dump those waste resources, the e-waste that gets generated in the process? What about the scrapping of the cars, the diesel and petrol engine cars that are already running? Are you going to scrap them? The installation and manufacturing, first of all, the manufacturing of chargers, e-vehicle chargers, etc., okay, that also is going to act as a wastage of resources when you already have petrol pumps, etc. Thirdly, in India's case, the 60% of electricity generated is through thermal powers. So how the e-vehicles, the World Earth Day theme is our power, our planet. How is it going to reduce pollution? How is it going to take care of the earth, mother earth, right? So ambassador also, sometimes UPSC goes haywire, okay, they start asking sports persons, etc. So to be on the safer side, I have incorporated, even though in the last few years it has been observed that these type of questions, who was the ambassador, etc., has not been asked. Okay, so still Antonic Smith, Grammy nominated singer actress, has been appointed as the ambassador for this year's World Earth Day. So theme is more important than ambassador part. Okay, so just be careful about it. Now coming to 26 killed in terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. Okay, a tourist destination. 3 of the judges of Kerala High Court were on a holiday trip to this destination, but they did not visit Pahalgam that day, and that is why they returned safe. Now talking about this attack, first attack after abrogation of Article 370. Okay, the timing of the this attack is very carefully chosen by Pakistan Army. It seems like they were planning for it after the comments by the Pakistan Army chief that Hindu religion is different and Jammu and Kashmir is like their umbilical cord, etc. Okay, those type of comments were already coming. Then the visit of the Vice President of America, even as he was visiting destinations like Akshardham temple, the locations which have already been vulnerable to attacks, or which have already been the locations of attack on the India's heritage. Okay, so when he is visiting those tourist places, Pakistan or these terror groups, they choose a destination which is a tourist destination just when the world is watching India. So they choose a timing and destination, which is why, I mean, this is a matter of concern. Our Prime Minister has taken it quite sincerely, quite sensitively. Early morning, early day, I mean, this morning meeting was held between the IB chief, etc., and India's External Affair, NSA, etc., so as to give India's concerted response to this matter. Okay, now Vice President JD Vance made his maiden visit was happening along with his family. So whenever US presidents, dignitaries visit anywhere, world watches. And when the world is watching his visit to India, Jammu and Kashmir issue is sought to be highlighted by Pakistan by launching an attack. Okay, and it was it is said that Hindus were targeted in the attack. So that is a worrisome phenomena. After 370, abrogation of 370, the tourism, on which the economy of Jammu and Kashmir thrives, tourism has been scaling heights. 2.1 crore tourists visited Jammu and Kashmir in 2023. Then 2.34 crore tourists visited Jammu and Kashmir in 2024. Now, after this terror attack, since this targeted the tourists, the economy of the Jammu and Kashmir will be badly affected. Let's hope what steps the government takes. Let's see how the government caters to deals with this terror attack. Okay, the attack was claimed by the Resistance Front, a proxy of Lashkar-e-Toiba, Pakistan-based terror group. So this was all on this. Now coming to this editorial on criticism of Supreme Court, matters that count. The Supreme Court of India has been facing severe criticism, unfounded criticism, by certain sections of ruling BJP. We see one of the members of parliament belonging to BJP, he criticized CJI Sanjeev Khanna for having started civil wars, and he is now being accused of, or is now going to be booked under contempt of courts at COC Act 1971. I told you yesterday that it requires the consent of the Attorney General of India to book anyone under. Attorney General's consent is required, permission is required to book anyone under this act. Attorney General happens to be the senior most lawyer, senior most advocate of the government of India, so his permission is required. So in a way, government's permission is required, you can understand it this way. Okay, now Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, even though he happens to be a lawyer, but this editorial says that many people are missing out on the point. Many luminaries, constitutional authorities, the critiques are missing on this point, that we have this kind of a system in our country. I have made this flow chart very quickly. Okay, simple yet understandable. We have constitutional supremacy, unlike UK, unlike USA, where in UK they have parliamentary supremacy. In India, we have constitutional supremacy. To be read by, the provisions of the constitution are to be read by judiciary. Okay, Parliament, what Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar is saying, what the Vice President is trying to say is that Parliament, which is elected for 5 years, is going to transcend the constitution, which is there for thousands of years. Okay, so constitution is long lasting, constitution is everlasting, constitution is eternal, but Parliament is just an ephemeral body, a temporary body elected for 5 years. So that is why the constitutional supremacy is of more importance in India. Since the constitution is upheld by judiciary, it is, the constitution is given a dynamic shape or dynamic interpretation by judiciary, by inserting right to privacy under Article 21, by inserting a time limit on governor. It cannot be, judiciary cannot be criticized for doing its duty. Time limit on governor, 3 months time limit has been put on governor and president. Okay, so the Honorable Vice President of India is saying that the constitutional authorities are not ornamental authorities. The institution of the President of India is not mere ornamental, or he is not just a decoratory figure. He needs to be respected. Judiciary cannot put a time limit. When the governments of the day are politicizing every aspect of governance, when governments are politicizing every aspect of governance, somebody needs to take care of the constitutional governance. Governance according to the Constitution of India, and that organization is judiciary. Before we go deeper into this editorial, let's have a look at the questions, the previous year questions. Look at this question. Who or which of the following is the custodian of the Constitution of India? A, the President of India. B, the Prime Minister of India? No. C, the Lok Sabha Secretariat? No. D, the Supreme Court of India. Question is of 2015. Okay, who is the custodian? Custodian means somebody who takes care of, when you keep jewelry in the bank is the custodian. You rest in peace, you rest assured that no theft will happen, nothing will happen. Okay, so that is, you park your money with the bank is the custodian of your money. Similarly, we have parked our constitution in the hands of judiciary. So judiciary is the safe repository, safe custodian, the safest custodian, which might not be politicized, which will be politicized to lesser effect. President of India, a ornamental figure, okay, a constitutional figurehead. So can be politicized? Yes. We have seen in the past that presidents have acted as a rubber stamp. So that is the problem. Prime Minister of India, campaigning for elections, not decided, he is the head of the government of India. So howsoever great the prime ministers have been, ranging from the times of Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Narasimha Rao, they have all been mute spectators to many political events. Demolition of Babri Masjid, emergency, even in the times of Prime Minister Modi, political events that wanted his intervention were not decided in time, thanks to the political opportunism. Okay, when the governments of the day, they give more importance to the politics, winnability, elections, then they are not the worthy custodians. They cannot be called to be the custodians of the constitution. Judges are also getting politicized. Okay, when we see remarks by judges, when we see that judges are going to Rajya Sabha as nominated members, the day is not far that judiciary will also become recommitted judiciary. Judiciary once became committed judiciary during Indira Gandhi's time. Okay, now the efforts are underway to, further politicize judiciary. That is why this controversy needs to be seen in this light. Let's go through the editorial now. This is the mains question. Constitutionally guaranteed judicial independence is a prerequisite of democracy. Article, the question of 2023. Okay, starting from inventing the basic structure doctrine, the judiciary has played a highly proactive role in ensuring that India develops into a thriving democracy. In the light of the above statement, evaluate the role played by judicial activism in achieving the ideals of democracy. So, my dear students, how it helps us, having gone through these previous year questions, it helps you as to how can you pull out the relevant lines or sentences from this editorial. Okay, so one by one we'll go. So, not surprisingly, a Supreme Court bench took note of the charge that it was intruding into the executive and legislative functions. So, yesterday, Justice B.R. Gawai, when he was asked to give directions to the union government to impose Article 355 in the state of West Bengal, he said that would we not be accused of incursion, judicial incursion into the domain of executive, levying, imposing or not imposing Article 356, or sending or not sending paramilitary forces as per Article 355 to West Bengal is the call to be taken by the government of India. When he is reached out by one member, by one citizen, by one appellant, that he should give binding directions to the government of India to send paramilitary forces to West Bengal, a state ruled by opposition. He says that we don't want to, we would be accused of intruding into the domain of executive. So we don't want to. In one petition, in another petition, the court was urged to direct the center to act under Article 355 and 356 to deal with the law and order situation in West Bengal, violence that is happening. In another, the court's intervention was sought to curtail the obscene content on the online platform. The court has been, the judiciary has been refraining from interfering into the matters of policy making or policy execution, the matters that are the sole preserve of executive and legislative functions. But we have to understand, when the legal vacuum is there, when the lapses are happening, when the constitutionally mandated duties are not being performed by the government and the parliament or the state legislature, then judiciary has to intervene. That cannot be said to be encroachment. That cannot be said to be judicial overreach. Okay. Now coming here, the Calcutta High Court had earlier ordered the deployment of central forces to stem violence in Murshidabad in West Bengal. Judicial review of legislative and executive decisions is an integral part of India's constitutional democracy. We are not a parliamentary, we are not a democracy with parliamentary supremacy. We are a democracy with constitutional supremacy. Okay, the decisions of the executive and legislature can be examined by judiciary to determine whether they are consistent with the philosophy of the constitution. And even constitutional amendments are subject to the basic structure test or basic structure doctrine. See, the main idea behind framing the constitution is that we are going to run by the constitutional lines, the constitutional mandate. The temporary governments elected for 5 years, no matter howsoever great they are, the leaders are great, the prime minister is very good, but they might twist the constitution, they might mold the constitution to suit their political gambles or to suit their political winnability. So that is why at a time, the writer says, very beautiful line, constitutional avenues, they are there. Article 13, judiciary is not wrong. There are multiple constitutional avenues for judicial intervention. What are those avenues? Article 13 gives the judiciary the power to strike down laws that are inconsistent with the fundamental rights. Then there are Articles 32 and 226 that give the Supreme Court and all the high courts respectively, the power to issue writs for enforcement of fundamental rights. Then there is Article 142, which gives the power to the Supreme Court to do complete justice. Okay, going beyond its realm, going beyond its jurisdiction, going beyond its role, the court can intrude, the court can intervene in the matter of, in the domain of executive and judiciary, in the and the legislature, to fill up the legal vacuum, to undo the executive damages. Okay, vaccine policy, etc. So this is the role, these are the articles which, these are the constitutional provisions or avenues which give the power to the Supreme Court to intervene. And courts are not wrong when they are undoing any injustice. When while undoing any injustice, they venture into the domain of legislature or executive despite repetitive requests. They have folded hands. Judges have time and again said that please do something for road accidents, please do something for pollution in Delhi, please do something for this thing, please sign the bills that have been pending for a long period of time, please, 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 please. Judiciary has been requesting. First, the judges give guidelines, and when it falls on deaf ears, the government doesn't listen, then judiciary rules with the gavel. Then they give directives, and they are not wrong. Vishaka guidelines, protection of women from sexual harassment. Okay, then abolition of exception to rape law. Then you talk about adultery, you talk about right to privacy, then you also talk about the Spokesman Act, protection given to children. Okay, so judiciary has done a lot of justice by using Article 142. Why is it then criticized for judicial overreach? Okay, under the pretext of judicial overreach. In fact, judiciary is expected to insulate, the very beautiful line it is, judiciary is expected to insulate the rule of law from the pressure of public opinion. Pressure of public opinion might weigh very heavily on the Prime Minister's mind, on the Chief Minister's mind, on the elected representatives' mind, because they are going to face the same public whose pressure they are shrugging off, whose pressure they are ignoring. But judges, they sit in very big chambers with very thick walls, which are not vulnerable to the voices and noises of the crowd, public crowd outside. Okay, so a politician who is facing elections might seek the ashirwad or blessing of a Baba, of a godman, who otherwise is a rapist. But judges don't need such kind of blessings. They have the blessings of the Constitution of India, right? So they work under the doctrine of constitutional supremacy. Okay, now it is in this constructive friction between various institutions. Constructive friction is it a kind of oxymoronical word? Two words of two opposite two words of opposite nature here. Constructive yet friction. Friction is there, but it is constructive for the governance, for the stability in the governance. Okay, for betterment of governance, for good governance of the country. Majoritarian view, the argument that legislatures, the parliament, the MPs and MLAs can pass any law on the basis of a majority is a majoritarian argument. That majority, the game of numbers will win. But what is the argument of the Constitution? The erasure of distinction between the executive and legislature. So why do we have legislature? Because we have parliamentary form of government. Imagine, look at this diagram. Okay, this is the parliament, this is the Lok Sabha, there sits the opposition, there sits the ruling political party. Okay, this ruling political party has got ministers. This is the legislature. What is the role of the legislature? To hold the ministry, to hold the government accountable. Okay, the erasure, the erosion or the blurring of the line, you can say blurring is a very mild word. The complete erasure of the distinction between the government and the legislature. Legislature is government, that is why government is legislature. They are not holding each other accountable. Ministers are answerable to parliament, but the lines have got blurred, the lines have got erased. Okay, so that is why what is happening, the erasure of the differentiation between the government and the parliament, the executive and the legislature has already created a crisis of accountability in governance, because MPs are not holding the government to account. Speaker is of ruling political party. That is how the lines of distinction between the executive and legislature have got erased, leading to the crisis of accountability. So when there are three organs of the government, two have also already gotten co-opted, two have already joined hands together, which is the only organ left? Judiciary is the only organ left. Now the efforts are underway to make judiciary also join hands. Judges are being retired, judges are being appointed as governors. P. Sathasevam. Okay, he got appointed as the governor of Kerala after giving judgments on various important matters in the favor of the government. Then we have Justice Ranjan Gogoi, who was accused of sexual assault, molestation of a law intern. He went on to become a Rajya Sabha nominated member. The day, the year, the time is not far when we will see the retired CJI will be appointed as Minister of Law and Justice to further the justice in the country. That will be in justice to the constitution. You understand the gravity of my points here. Okay, that is why the efforts are underway to have executive's role in the matters of appointment of judges, to have the say of the government. Okay, so that is why this kind of a pressure, these statements by vice president, etc., they need to be understood in this context. Okay. Now, at the national level and state level in India, crisis of accountability, because government is not held to account. Government is not held accountable in a system where where the government is answering to same parliament, same legislative assembly, where it has got a beautiful majority, right? So that is the problem here. Now coming to these questions are there. We have understood this article to a great extent. The attempt to intimidate judiciary in the name of legislative supremacy is a threat to democracy. The writer ends the article here. This was the article editorial. These are the previous year questions. Just go through them once and try to collect your thoughts on the basis of the discussion of this editorial. Now coming to the other questions with reference to the Constitution of India, prohibitions on or limitations or provisions contained in the ordinary laws cannot act as prohibitions on the constitutional powers under Article 142. It could mean which one of the following? 2019 question. See, the question is very longish in nature, 4 sentences. Okay, I had to reduce the size of the font here. We usually use 22, but because of the very long question, many aspirants, they get disheartened or they lose the essence of the question. It is only asking about awareness of what Article 142 deals with. Simple knowledge of what Article 142 deals with. Not quite old question. 2019, you can score 2 marks with a great ease. Okay, only awareness of what is happening in the current affairs. So this question says that it could mean which one of the following. This question is saying that the ordinary laws cannot impose any limitation on the power of the parliament to power of the Supreme Court to do complete justice. Okay, the Supreme Court of India is not constrained in the exercise of its power by the laws made by the parliament. There is no inhibition, there is no stopping the Supreme Court. This is how we need to understand these topics. Okay, mere awareness takes you through. That is why current affairs, their understanding, reading of editorials becomes important. Okay, so the question is very prima facie, it seems to be very difficult as to how to read and how to comprehend these statements, but someone who is regular with the newspaper will be able to. Okay, now JD Vance, who is on a visit to India, he pitched for closer ties in the defense and energy sectors. We are diluting our civil nuclear liability law. I told you about the India's Nuclear Liability Bill, Nuclear Liability Amendment Act, Amendment Bill, that is in the draft stage, to put lesser responsibility on the suppliers of nuclear reactors going forward. Okay, who are the suppliers? We had a discussion. Okay, suppliers are going to be the companies from US. They will supply the nuclear reactor to India worth thousands of crores of rupees. These suppliers as of now have unlimited responsibility or unlimited liability in case of any nuclear accident. Okay, for example, Westinghouse. Westinghouse is a US nuclear reactor making company. Okay, if it invests in India, any Bhopal gas tragedy type accident happens, then thousands of crores of rupees it will have to pay as a damage compensation for the damage to the victims. Who is the operator in India? Operator of nuclear reactors in India is National Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, a government company, right? So operator can file a case against the supplier companies of the US if there is a faulty design, if there is a defect in the nuclear reactor. So this is what the law says. Now, to enhance the energy ties between India and USA, this civil nuclear liability law of India will be diluted. Okay, now there will not be unlimited liability. Okay, there will only be limited. UN gone. Okay, so it is going to be diluted to protect the interest of American companies. This is one way in which we are increasing the energy, seeking to increase the energy ties between India and USA. What is the other way? We have reduced or abolished 3% tax on LNG imports from USA. USA is quite rich in liquefied natural gas. Okay, 3% LNG tax that India was levying on gas imports from USA will now be abolished. 2 points. Okay, now the trade agreement, the kind of agreement that we were seeking, it is still in the discussion stage. He says that the ties between India and USA will be built on fairness. What do we mean by fairness here? If USA is charging lesser tax on the Indian goods, India should also be fair and charge similar amount of tax. India cannot subject the goods coming from America into USA to a higher rate of tax. Okay, so these are the things. Now, taking a dig at China here, world's future. Vice President of America says that the strength of his country's relationship with India would determine the world's future in 21st century. Do you recollect what did China say in the recent past? Let the elephant and dragon, China dragon, India elephant, let's dance together. Now the same kind of a statement is made by the US Vice President. The world's future in the 21st century will depend upon USA and India's partnership. That means USA wants India to be on its side rather than going towards Chinese side. Okay, this is a very important juncture, very important opportunity for India to cement, to strengthen its ties with America. You read between lines, you will understand this is a dig at, this is a kind of hint at China that we are going to absorb India. We are going to give benefits to India. So the tariff war danger is not going to be as much for India. We can read in this statement. Okay. The US is seeking greater access to Indian markets for agriculture, etc., which is a kind of troubling area for India. India cannot reduce MSP and other subsidies given to its farmers. So that is why these discussions will take their own time. Okay. The aim is to create win-win partnership, etc. Rest is all hyperbole, formality. Okay. Good words. Moving further. Indo-Pacific cooperation, the US and India share aligned interests. Insofar as security is concerned, security ties between between the US and India are far better than the trade ties in the recent past. Okay, India's participation in the Quad exercises. Donald Trump is also expected to visit. So we are on the US and India are on the same page when it comes to security ties, but they don't look eye to eye. They are not on the same page when it comes to tariff trade war that has been started recently. Okay, nuclear energy. US welcomed India's announcement to amend civil nuclear liability laws that will reduce the liability of nuclear reactor suppliers of America. The very reason for which the US gave civil nuclear waiver to India, the 123 agreement signed in 2008, that India, even if it hasn't signed Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, CTBT, Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, India has not signed these treaties. Okay, India is not a signatory. India does not say that it will conform to. Since India is not a signatory, India was kept outside the supply of nuclear uranium. Okay, uranium 235, etc., was prohibited to be supplied to India from countries like Kazakhstan. Okay, or Canada, which are having largest reserves or great reserves of very large amounts of uranium, which is used for electricity generation. Despite that, what is happening? India was given a civil nuclear waiver that India can be allowed to be imported from countries like Canada, Kazakhstan can export uranium to India even if it has not signed NNPT. That is the meaning of nuclear waiver given by America. Do you think America is so benevolent, is such a good guy? You know Uncle Sam, hai na? You know George W. Bush, etc. America gave this nuclear waiver just to revive its failing nuclear reactor companies. They were on the verge of bankruptcy, Westinge, etc. Westinge House. Okay, so the companies wanted big orders. USA had thought that by giving civil nuclear waiver to India, Westinghouse will be able to sell the reactors. But India's nuclear liability law came in the way. India imposed a heavy nuclear liability in case the faulty reactor is supplied by these companies, in case any nuclear disaster happens. So that is why these companies of USA, they were not able to sell the reactors to India. Okay, so that is the problem. Now we are going to overcome that problem when India's civil nuclear liability law is amended. Clear? Now, the Tamil Nadu order does not apply to Kerala. Supreme Court interpreted Article 200, saying that on 9th April, a judgment was given by the Supreme Court. Those of you who are joining our news analysis for the first time, on April 9, a judgment comes that there is a time limit on the governor. Judgment says time limit on the governor and the president. Within 3 months, they have to approve the bills. Okay, since this was a matter of interpretation of the power of the governor and president, is it not applicable to the whole of the country? It's a matter of interpretation. Okay, interpretation of constitution to all the pending matters. It will be logically applicable to whole of country, but government of India says no. The matter was exclusively of Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu governor. State government of Tamil Nadu versus Tamil Nadu governor. It will be applicable only to that case. Okay, the case of bills that are pending in Kerala will be dealt with separately. Kerala, government of Kerala versus governor of Kerala. This is a separate case, is what government of India is saying to Supreme Court. Supreme Court says that no, we will decide this matter, especially the bills that are pending in Kerala for 8 to 23 months now. Okay, governor of Kerala has not signed on the bills since 2023. November 2023, the bills are pending. By the way, what are these bills doing? They are roasting. Okay, like you roast cheese, chicken, etc. The more it roasts, the better it looks, the better it tastes. Similarly, governors will eat up these bills once they are fully roasted. In a way, they are suppressing the people's mandate. Government of Kerala is elected by people of Kerala for 5 years. If you hold the bills for 1.5 years, 2 years, you are not letting the state legislative assembly implement the mandate of the people. MLAs are elected by people to legislate upon the matters that are important for people. If these matters are held up by the governor, who is a non-elected representative, it is a kind of suppression of democratic will, right? So that is the problem. Kerala has approached the Supreme Court alleging a delay by its governor in clearing bill. Attorney General of India, Government of India says that the facts of Tamil Nadu's case against the governor's delay do not cover Kerala. Facts are the same, similar facts only. There was also delay, here was also delay. So Tamil Nadu lawyer says that, very important article has appeared here, Article 254. Okay, the governor of Kerala says that why has now the government of Kerala says that why now the governor of Kerala has sent the bills to the president. Bills ordinarily can be reserved for the consideration of the president when there is inconsistency between the laws passed by inconsistency in the law passed by the center and the state legislative assembly. Okay, parliament, central parliament, union parliament, and the state legislative assembly. Then only the governor can reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. Okay, you can quickly draw this for your understanding. Article 254 says as much, and that too on the matters of concurrent list. But that is not happening. The bills passed by the Kerala State Legislative Assembly are not derogatory or are not inconsistent with any of the bills, any of the already existing act of the parliament. So why these bills have been reserved by the governor for the consideration of the president under Article 201? Governor can reserve. Okay, first the governor kept the bills pending under Article 200 for 8 to 24 months, 23 months now. After the case was filed in the Supreme Court, governor signed one bill, but 7 bills have been referred to the president. Why? Bills can ordinarily be referred to the president when the principles underlying the bill, the provisions of the bill passed by state legislative assembly are inconsistent. Okay, they are inconsistent with the bills of the parliament, union parliament, central parliament. Okay, that kind of a scenario is not there when the bills were passed by the Kerala. Those bills do not have any such provisions which are coming into clash with the already existing act of the parliament. So why these bills have been reserved is the point here. Okay, encroaching upon the union list, they did not encroach upon the union list, or they did not enact a law on the matter that has already been dealt with by the union parliament given in the concurrent list. Okay, so why the bills have been reserved? So this case will go on. Now this is a Chunnu article, very small article. India relatively less susceptible to external headwinds. Even though tariff war is going on, external headwinds are against India, but thanks to the consumption and investment cycle in India, the engines of domestic growth. Okay, the other day also we were talking about the 3-4 engines are there of domestic growth. Okay, when we talk about India's GDP growth rate, it is decided by how much is the rural consumption. Okay, if people in rural India are able to spend more, what will it depend upon? Expenditure power comes from income, how much they are spending. It is decided by stable inflation. Okay, if inflation will be stable, people will have more money to spend. It is decided by things like Manrega, rural income, the things that decide rural income. Okay, then it is decided by good monsoon. This is D1, domestic engine 1, just to understand. Okay, so RBI report, RBI bulletin says that our domestic engines are working fine. Okay, then second engine is urban. How are these cities performing? Cities will be affected by the tariff war that has been started by Donald Trump. Okay, nonetheless, the household consumption in cities, how many people are borrowing, household consumption. Okay, it will be decided by borrowing capacity. How much money are they able to borrow? Recently, rate of interest by RBI has been reduced. Okay, they will, people in the urban India will borrow loans for purchase of cars, etc. So these two, this is domestic engine 2 of Indian economy. Then there are other engines like I1, international or external sector, E1. This is exports. Even though India is facing challenge in this sector due to tariff war, but these two engines are going to function well. The third engine is private sector investment. Okay, private sector investment. Okay, private sector investment, again, repo rate has been reduced. Private sector should be having a lot of cash to invest. They should see, green pen signifies positivity. They should see expenditure, the power of the rural people to buy motorbikes. Then only Hero will set up a new plant, new manufacturing plant. Okay, the private sector should see purchase of cars in the urban India. Okay, FMCG goods, fast moving consumer goods like shampoo, Parle-G biscuits, Good Day, etc. They should be sold in large quantity. Fourth engine. These are the engines of domestic growth. This is D3, private sector investment. D1 is rural engine. How the people of rural India, thanks to good monsoon, thanks to Manrega budget, they will be having more income in their hands. Then how the private sector investment, since the repo rate has been reduced, people, the Adanis, Ambanis, Birlas, Hero motorcycles, they will be able to borrow more money. They will invest in plants, manufacturing plants. Parleji will be able to set up new factory. They will employ more people. Production cycle, the business cycle would get revived. Okay, household sector. The fourth and the most important sector is the government sector. Okay, so how much is the government going to spend? Government's budget is 50 lakh crore rupees. Okay, thanks to GST collections, thanks to income tax collections, everything is good. So even though we are facing the crisis on the export sector thanks to tariff war, Donald Trump, etc. Okay, but the other three engines are working well for India. This is what this article says. Okay, exports also, thanks to the consistency in the service sector exports, the exports by companies like Infosys, etc. Okay, Infosys is there, Wipro is there. They have a lot of exposure in the Western markets, so they will be able to propel the growth engines for India. Clear? Impact of global economic outlook. I have explained you through the flowchart, so no need to go line by line now. Okay, so we'll end it here. This was all in today's news analysis. The editorial that I promised regarding section 69 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, that we will be dealt with in the next class tomorrow for sure. Stay tuned for next session on the daily current affairs here on this channel. Once again, as many of you must have been inspired by the results yesterday. See, UPSC is a story of perseverance. It is not the story of intelligent people. Intelligent people, they also have a great chance, but if they are not persistent, if they are not having patience, if they are not having that perseverance to continue despite failures, there are chances that they may not sail through the journey. Okay, they will be having a lot of opportunities. But if you are an average student, BA, BCom, humanities, and you are persevering, you have that persistence, then UPSC is for you. Even if you are a mediocre student, not from so good a college, chances are very high that you will be able to sail through. Okay, so be on it. Don't waste your time. Utilize your time. Be smart enough to know what to study and what to skip. Okay, do not fall into the trap of many coaching institutes, many reading material, study material, the material from where surely the content will be asked. Don't fall into the trap of all these things. Study sincerely, read NCERTs carefully, look at the PYQs every day, previous year questions every day. That should be your religious duty. Okay, previous year questions of prelims, mains. Try to read editorial, understand news articles, and see what is being asked. Try to correlate the two things. Okay, a girl not able to crack prelims thrice, writing mains and appearing in interview in the fourth attempt. Okay, so have that kind of a courage. Yes, this exams takes a lot of time. 2 to 3 years is normal time. So if your familial financial circumstances is not that good, financial position is not that good, have a backup option. Work for a private sector company, at least earn for yourself, so that you don't have those external pressures on your mind. Okay, we are all Indians. The girls especially, we face a lot of challenges, that marriage pressure is there, girl is exceeding her age, etc. Those kind of pressures will be managed when you are financially independent, right? Then comes how to sneak out time. Saturdays and Sundays, give your 100%. Study for 8 to 10 hours if you are a working aspirant. If you are a full-time aspirant, value your time even more. Okay, do not defy the trust, do not misuse the trust and the faith of your parents. You are given the luxury of not earning, not fending for yourself, and preparing full time. So don't waste your time. With this, I conclude, I wrap up the session for the day. See you again tomorrow at around the same time. Until then, thank you, bye bye, Jai Hind, and our condolences, our prayers for the people who have died in the Pahalgam attack yesterday. It was a tragic incident. The way the tourists were running from pillar to post to save their lives, that is also a tragic incident. We, from this very small platform of daily current affairs with me, Jatin Verma, we pray for their resting in peace. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Have a good day. Thank you.